Well, I've learned how to use iMovie, so I really can edit out any part, but I'm not as good at the middle part. I mean, I think that the beginning and the end is a lot easier.
Yes.
All right, so I'll get started. Hello, this is Mrs. Swanson, and I am here with an episode of Future Options. I am joined by Ms. Gannon. She is from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and hopefully having this expert here today, we can learn more about the University of Minnesota system, and then specifically about the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. That is just such a huge campus that sometimes can be really intimidating for students, but I know there's just so many great opportunities there. So let's get started. Can you please talk to us about what makes the University of Minnesota system so great for students after high school?
Yeah, I think what's awesome about this system is there's so many opportunities regardless of which campus you go to. So if you want a little bit larger of a campus, if you want a smaller campus, we have all those options within the system. And there's over 300 majors for students to choose from between the systems. So we likely have a program that a student is looking to go into.
Yeah, that's awesome. 300 is a lot of different programs for students to choose from. So how many different college campuses are part of the University of Minnesota system?
So there are 5 in total. So the largest one is the Twin Cities campus, which is the one I work for. We also have a lot of students that go to Duluth. There is Crookston, Morris, and Rochester. And a lot of the campuses really focus on sometimes their own areas of expertise. So I think what major students might be looking to go into might also influence which campus they're going to consider.
Great. And so do students have to look at each individual campus website individually, or is there one website for all of the systems?
Yeah, this year we've started to do a little bit more branding with having 5 campuses, 1 college. So we have some websites that will have information on all 5 campuses. But for more like specifics and details, I do still recommend students go look to each individual campus's website. That way, if you want to see about deadlines or scholarship consideration, those will be things that are a little bit more unique that might be on their own homepages.
Okay, yeah, that's great to know. Now, when applying, if a student is interested in the University of Minnesota and maybe they're trying to decide between Duluth and the Twin Cities, do they just fill out one college application for all campuses, or do they apply separately to each one? Can you kind of explain how that works?
Yeah, so there's actually an application that you can fill out. So if you apply to the U of M Twin Cities location, there is an application that is available for students called Share My App. The main thing to note is this is not a backwards compatible type application. So if you fill it out at Duluth, it does not work the other way around, but you're able to apply to all system campuses through the Twin Cities application. So, and this is a free application. So you can send your application to Duluth for free, send it to Crookston for free, to Morris for free, to Rochester for free. But again, if you apply to the other systems, you can't then apply to the other location. So it's not backwards compatible, but it's a great way to explore those other options within the system, not have to pay extra for another application fee, not have to fill out another application. We do everything on our end and cover the fee for you and send the application over to those other system campuses.
Yeah, that's really convenient. And I don't know, our 9th graders might not understand like how much money that potentially could save, but if you're interested in 3 different college campuses, that can save you, $70 or whatever, just depending on the campus they're thinking to apply to in addition to the Twin Cities. So that is a good deal.
I think the least expensive system campus application is $35, and ours is the most expensive at $55. So even just thinking of $35 times 4 schools, like you're saving a good chunk of money right there alone.
Right. And just the convenience of not having to send the application to each place and fill out all of the demographic things and stuff like that, again, is, saves a lot of time. So that's very good to know. So the University of Minnesota, you said Twin Cities is the largest campus. And that I mentioned before, can seem kind of intimidating for students because it's really big. What do you do to make it feel more community-based and make students feel more comfortable?
Yeah, so when students apply for admission at the Twin Cities location, they do apply specifically to a freshman admitting college. And really what that just means is it's the department in which your major is in. Students are admitted directly into these freshman admitting colleges. So the largest one we have is the College of Liberal Arts. They have about 3,500 students in their academic college. We have small ones that are like the School of Nursing, which is 150 students, or I'm sorry, 120 students. Or there's like the engineering school, it's like 600 students. So when you're applying to these freshman colleges, you're already starting in a smaller group of students. So it's taking like our 6,000 freshman class, and it's really getting pared down just to that group of students that you are going to be taking a lot of classes with and going towards your major with. So I think that's a really great way that students are already getting into like those smaller groups and just finding their communities on campus. And then another really great way to be involved and find those senses of community is through student organizations. So again, we're a big campus, we have a lot of resources. So we have over 900 student organizations. We have over 200 cultural-based organizations. We have sororities and fraternities. There is professional organizations related to your major. So it's a really great way for students to, again, like find those other individuals that have the same career interests, the same personal interests, and have that sense of community right on campus.
Wow, that is a lot. So
Yeah.
students would really have to try to not be able to find some place that they belong and be able to make friends and things like that, despite the large size of the campus. That's good to know. You talked a little bit about admissions, and I maybe should have mentioned this before, but what do students need to have in order to be admitted to the University of Minnesota? So what sort of things are you looking for? ACT, GPA, those kind of specifics?
Yeah, so this answer is going to depend on honestly what grade level a student is in right now and what academic year they're in. So right now we are no test required. This is in a direct response to COVID. Some of our other system campuses are permanently no test required. So if you're looking at, I think Morris is the only other one that is temporarily under this protocol. So if depending on what academic year you're in, there may or may not be an academic test score required. Again, just depending on what it is. We need a self-reported transcript. So we do not use official transcripts when you apply for admission. You do self-report the information, and that's going to be the same for the other campuses as well. We're looking for, again, a $55 application fee. You're able to waive the fee if you're on free or reduced lunches or eligible for a fee waiver. There's a question right in the application where you can waive it pretty simply. And then test scores are, again, not required for students applying for fall 2021 and fall 2022. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I can only hope that it kind of stays in the same process. But so that's really just the main things that we're looking for with the admissions process. There's no essays, there's no letters of recommendation, no resumes, nothing like that is required. So it's a pretty straightforward application. And then we do a holistic review. So, and that's the same for all the system campuses. So we're looking at the academic factors on an application very closely for admissions decisions. Each system campus is looking for something maybe a little bit different, or their competitiveness might be a little bit different. But for the Twin Cities location, I would say on average, we are seeing students typically are on the top 15 to 20% of their high school class, probably mostly A grades, but definitely with a couple Bs here and there. As far as test scores, if students choose to report, if they have to report, probably on average like a 27 to a 32 ACT. And I honestly don't know the SAT numbers. We don't see SAT as much. So I would say that's probably like the average profile that we're seeing of students. But again, some of the other campus locations, they might have a little bit different of averages that they see.
And so I really like that you do that holistic review. And for students that don't know what that means, is they're really looking at the whole student, not just the numbers, not just one test score, not just a GPA, but they're really looking at the whole student and everything they have to offer. And I really appreciate that. Because we all have different strengths, right? And so we maybe are not good test takers or things like that, but are really good students. And so that can make a big difference to students, especially a competitive school such as the University of Minnesota. It's nice that you look at all different factors when deciding admissions. That's really important. So the University of Twin Cities, how big is your campus? How many students do you have daily on campus?
Yeah, so our undergraduate class, or under all of our undergraduate students, there's about 35,000 students. So it's definitely big. I think the University of Minnesota for some students can kind of be that double-edged sword. For some students, they really love the size, they love the location. For some students, it's too big, and that's also completely fine. We're not going to be the right fit for everybody with the size that we are. But undergrad students, about 35,000. We do have professional programs on campus. So we do have a med school, we have a law school, we have dental school, there's vet school. So there's a lot of different little pockets of professional areas or graduate students. And I don't know those numbers offhand, but I would say in a normal day, campus does feel pretty lively, feels pretty full.
Well, and like you said, with the large size comes a lot of opportunity because you just have so many students and just the wealth of knowledge and information all there on campus. That's great. Yeah, you're right. It's a double-edged sword. You just have to decide what's going to be the best fit for you. Mm-hmm. So really encouraging students to take that college visit, to explore the website further. That will be attached to this video, but really doing your research to see, if this is going to be the best fit. And it sounds like you guys do a lot of outreach to make sure that students feel included, have that kind of school within a school, that smaller pod that students can really connect with each other and their professors, and resources available on campus.
For sure. And something that's nice too is even though we are a large school, and this is definitely not anything unique, we do require office hours of our professors. So this is common amongst a lot of colleges, but especially for a school of our size, that there is a specific time that you're able to meet with your professors. So if students do have questions about course materials, or they just want to get to know their professor, maybe they're interested in doing research or something, they know that they have times that they're able to talk to their professors and that they're not unreachable just because we're a large school.
Yeah, that's good to know. And I'm assuming, when students are trying to explore different options and things like that, you explain all this in detail where students can ask questions and find out more specifics?
Yeah, so if students do have more questions too, I think right now something that's really tough for students is, since we are virtual, it's kind of hard to figure out who is available to talk to. We have live Q&A sessions with our current students if you ever have questions about what our current students have found successful, how they've come to their college options and decided on the U of M Twin Cities. We also have presentations every day that are going to be virtual right now. For current seniors that are in fall 2021's cohort, we are allowing in-person tours. They are going to be very small groups. We just started them earlier this week, so this is week 1 of tours for us. So if you want to come on and see campus for the first time in a year, we're allowing really small group visits for that. Otherwise, I would also recommend for students that do have questions, that want to see a campus before you make your decision, you're always free to walk around a college campus too. So if it's feasible, if it's driving distance, if you want to fly somewhere, whatever it may be, you're always more than welcome to walk around a college campus, even if it's an unofficial visit, unofficial tour. I think that's a great way to see, especially now with things still being kind of locked down, what that would feel like for you maybe a year from now, or hopefully even this fall if we're back on campus. But definitely feel free to reach out to your admissions counselor, the admissions office, if there's questions that you have, because we might be virtual, but we're definitely here to help.
That's good information. So yeah, I think that's it. I think just the University of Minnesota is just such a great option for students, depending on, it sounds like between all of your campuses, you have something for everyone. But is there anything else that I've forgotten to ask, or anything else you'd like to share with our high school students?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, I know I just mentioned it, but just making sure that you reach out to your admissions counselor if you do have questions. I feel like there's a lot of students that are afraid to reach out. There's never a stupid question. There's no dumb questions. Everybody is going through the college search process, probably for the first time in their family, or even if it's been a while since your parents have gone to school, or if you're the first sibling, whatever it may be. There's never a dumb question to ask. So don't ever feel afraid to reach out to us and ask any admissions counselor a question, because that's literally what we're here for, is just to help you through this process. There's a lot of moving parts. So we just want to make this as easy and as stress-free for you as possible.
So there's a lot of resources available, and you're exactly right. Most likely if someone has a question, someone else has had that same question. We've talked about that a lot amongst a lot of different colleges. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, and I really hope this sparks their interest enough to explore further and really consider the University of Minnesota as a future option.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.